Hey Pokemon Masters, Toby here, on the other end of a camera, on the other end of a lens. You know, there's the saying, an image tells 1,000 stories, like this image of my Bidoof. Oh Miyamoto, you are a specimen. But if that's true, that an image, a frame tells 1,000 stories, then surely the new Pokemon Snap playing at 60 frames per second means that you're getting 60,000 stories for every second you're playing it. You wouldn't think that a Pokemon game could be that layered, but I mean, just think about the Pokemon tagline, gotta catch 'em all. Are we talking about catching Pokemon, or are we talking about catching Pokemon on camera? Or are we talking about recapturing the nostalgia of the original Pokemon Snap? After all, it is new Pokemon Snap, not Pokemon Snap 2, Todd Snaps Back. That's a terrible name. No, it's new Pokemon Snap. As in relation to the original. It's trying to recapture nostalgia while at the same time show you what it's got new to give off, including some very sleek designs for Pokemon. Honestly, I don't think, and this is just my review of the game here, I don't think Pokemon have ever looked better than they do in new Pokemon Snap. I think they're gorgeous. This is how I imagine Pokemon to be in the real world, and I want all future Pokemon games to look this good. Anyway, I digress, because that game, much like this video, it's layered, just as I have been the last few weeks. I'm trying to recapture the nostalgia of some of my favorite videos to make, while also showing you, the quality and the new stuff that I've been working on. So I hope you've been enjoying the last few weeks. I've been having an absolute blast. And of course, a big part of capturing the nostalgia of this channel is to tell layered Pokemon theories, lots of stories about Pokemon. And I have one for you today, all about new Pokemon Snap. Let's go. Okay, so Pokemon Masters, let's do some theorizing. New Pokemon Snap. Is it the one about Rita and Iris and how they're probably related because they look alike, and Rita has the hair of a Goodra, which is a dragon Pokemon, and of course Iris is a dragon master? No, it's not. It's not that one. Could it be the one that points out the Easter egg that's in Professor Mirror's lab that shows off the big blue building, which is going to be in the upcoming Coco something of the jungle movie? It's the new Pokemon movie. We haven't had it here yet. It's the one about Zarude, but there's a building in that movie that is in this game. Cool notice, but not really a theory. Okay, I see that. Or could it be the Pokemon theory that I'm most hoping to be true? That Professor Mirror is really a reformed Mirror Bee. Doesn't make any sense. No, that's not a theory. That's just wishful thinking. No, instead, in this video, I want to focus on the origins of Illumina Pokemon. Look at what the game tells us, but also look at what the game shows us that ties it into the main series of games. And by the way, spoiler warning for new Pokemon Snap, I'm going to be talking about the final level of the game because that is a big piece of this puzzle. New Pokemon Snap is not a very spoiler-heavy game. I don't really get how you can get it spoiled for you, but, if you are interested, go. You can watch either of the other videos that I've done recently, the one about Shadow Pokemon and the one about Lava Ridge Town. I had so much fun making them. Go and enjoy those, get caught up, and then when you're done, head on back here. Okay, spoiler warning, 3, 2, 1. We're going to talk about the bosses of the games, the Illumina Pokemon. That's what they act as, the final bosses of each stage. There are 6 of them all in all. Well, technically 7. Well, technically like 100. Because there's Meganium, Steelix, and Milotic, sure, but then when it comes to Volcarona, there's 2 of them, and when it comes to Wishy-Washy, there's a whole school of them, so that's technically like hundreds, right? And then leading them all is the legendary Pokemon Xerneas. Okay, I wonder what that's about. Xerneas is the final boss of the game and hides within the ruins of the Aurorus Island? Aurorus. It's spelled funny, I'm dyslexic. Anyway, the point is that these Pokemon are different to regular Pokemon in that they're Illumina Pokemon. They glow at night, they give off this kind of bright light radiation, and if you throw Illumina orbs at them, then they glow with special patterns that are distinct specifically to them. In the final level of the game, in the Ruins of Remembrance, we actually see statues dedicated to each of these Pokemon, and in the middle is some kind of giant strange structure, perhaps built by people who used to live on the island, or perhaps this is part of the meteorite that appears in this island's history. We know from murals that the Teller meteorite fell around 2,000 years ago, causing widespread devastation across the Lental region. We also know that this history is highly underdocumented. The only documentation that exists about the entire island comes from a Professor Vincent who lived 100 years earlier. And Professor Vincent, or Vinny, as we in the biz know him, he was an explorer, and he wrote a whole travel log about what the goings on this island. We learn from Professor Mirror, who is Vinny's biggest fanboy, that he had seen at least 2 Illumina Pokemon on his travels, but he knew about at least 4 of them, which means that he probably entered one of these ruins on the various islands and saw the statues or murals. Additionally, Professor Mirror makes a really odd statement that Captain Vince never made it to Duris Island, the ice island, which is strange because the only image we see of Captain Vincent is him with a Braviary, and Braviary can be found, you guessed it, only on this island. Which means, even in this one travel log from 100 years ago, bits of the history have been not written in, not filled in, they've gone changed. So much so that there is a lot of confusion. When we look to the past, Professor Mirror says, in one sentence, that the legends say that the power of Illumina Pokemon was scattered across the region when the meteorite shower fell. But then in the next sentence he says what caused the Pokemon of the Lental region to glow was the meteorite itself, which lines up, but then it was the Illumina Pokemon who were the most affected, which doesn't make sense because the Illumina Pokemon are the Pokemon that glow. There aren't other glowing Pokemon unless you throw Illumina orbs at them, which are something that Professor Mirror invented. So he's confused about history. If he's getting advice from Todd Snap, well, he's a photographer, not a historian or a scientist. And the only other scientific advice on the campus comes from Rita when Professor Mirror at the end of the game asks, how is it that you were able to take pictures of Illumina Pokemon? And Rita says, isn't it obvious, Professor? Pokemon always appear to people who love them, and they show that love in return. Yeah, that's not science. Where did you all get your degrees from? Probably from making Pokemon theory videos on YouTube. Yeah, do you know what? I'm gonna take that, and I'm just gonna assume that I'm more qualified to talk about this than them, and that is because I have traveled to the Hoenn region. See, let's go back in our calendars because the date 2,000 years ago is super relevant within Hoenn. This is because, according to Conkelda's Pokedex entries, 2,000 years ago is when Conkelda helped humans make concrete. Okay, that has nothing to do with anything. It's just the only other thing that happened 2,000 years ago. But 2,000 years ago, we know that something happened in the Hoenn region. Specifically, the destruction of the home of the Draconids that became Meteor Falls as a result of a meteor shower passing 2,000 years ago. In fact, my good buddy Ruin Maniac Files has already done a video about this, but it seems that every 1,000 years a meteorite shower passes the Pokemon Earth and often causes big destruction. In modern day, in Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire in the Delta episode, we see a meteorite is heading towards Earth and it's carrying with it the space virus Deoxys, a Pokemon that according to its Pokedex entry was brought to life when a meteorite/space virus was mutated by a laser heading into space. So that's modern day. 1,000 years ago, we know that a crater was created in the middle of the ocean where Sootopolis City now is by a giant meteorite. In fact, the overflowing of primal energy that came from that awoke Groudon and Kyogre. At that point, Rayquaza had to step in, and Rayquaza was wished to, prayed to by the Draconids, and that allowed Rayquaza to Mega Evolve. Though other bits of dialogue throughout the game suggest that Rayquaza can Mega Evolve because it ate a meteorite that had bits of Mega Stone in it. Again, fuzzy history, but we know, generally speaking, nowadays, 1,000 years ago, Sootopolis City, 1,000 years before that, Meteor Falls and the events of the Lental region, and 1,000 years before that, well, that's 3,000 years ago, a huge date in the universe of Pokemon. 3,000 years ago, the disappearance of Meltan until they recently reappeared, the awakening of Eternatus, I believe. Around 2,500 to 3,000 years ago, you had the fall of the kings in Unova, and of course the big one, 3,000 years ago, the big battle of AZ, the ultimate weapon being fired up into the sky using the life energy of Pokemon. A giant laser that went into space and probably hit the meteorite that passes the Earth every 1,000 years, and this is how Deoxys has come about. In fact, there are loads of alien Pokemon that are said to visit the Earth traveling on the back of asteroids. Starmie is said to be related to Deoxys. They both have gem-like cores, they're both psychic types, and they communicate. Starmie beaming up messages into the night sky using electromagnetic waves, and Deoxys, as it appears in the Deoxys movie, using auroras. There's that word again, using auroras, electromagnetic waves, to communicate. Aurus Island, named maybe because of a connection to alien Pokemon, because there, on the island, in the Ruins of Remembrance, are Elgyem, space alien Pokemon that seem to be commanding the Golurk to protect the statues that are there. And these statues are connected to the structure, the unusual structure in the middle of the room, perhaps unusual in the same way that Deoxys asteroid is just a flat triangle. It seems to me that it may be part of this same group of asteroids, the same group of meteorite showers that pass the Earth every 1,000 years. And to be fair, the idea that Pokemon life may have come from space isn't unprecedented. In the very opening of the Pokemon anime, we first see Mew coming down from space, and it is the ancestor of all Pokemon. The idea has been juggled before. It's just like there's this giant spaceship of Pokemon that pass planets and pass the Earth every 1,000 years, dropping off new life. And one of those life forms, and the life form that's really relevant to all of this, is the Pokemon Jirachi. Jirachi is one of my all-time favorite mythical Pokemon. I absolutely adore it. And it, in the Jirachi Wishmaker movie, appears in a comet, the Millennium Comet, that goes past the Earth every 1,000 years. Perhaps another comet as part of this same shower. However, this meteorite takes a more crystal-like structure, and here we see our connections to the new Pokemon Snap game. Because this crystal structure, this blending of strange crystals and natural formations, can be seen in the crystal bloom flowers that appear all across the Lental region, that apparently are connected to the Illumina Pokemon, the Pokemon that appeared 2,000 years ago when the meteorite fell. Similarly, there is a crystal just like this in the central room of the Ruins of Remembrance. This crystal only appears on your first run of the game. If you've been smart, you've finished the game and you've gone back there, you'll notice that that crystal has gone, and now Jirachi appears on the stage. And in fact, it makes perfect sense that Jirachi is part of this same group of comets that go around the Earth every 1,000 years. For example, when Sutopolis City was created 2,000 years ago, by way of a giant meteorite crashing into the ocean, the Dragonair people had to pray, to wish to Rayquaza to get it to Mega Evolve, but the accounts are confusing. Did it Mega Evolve because of a wish? Did it Mega Evolve because of a meteorite that it swallowed? And was that wish to Rayquaza? Or was it to the meteorite? To Jirachi, the wish-making Pokemon? It could really be either, because it's possible that Rayquaza ate a little bit of comet, a little bit of meteorite, filled with the energy of a Megastone. This is because 3,000 years ago, a group of comets in the sky were likely hit by the giant laser that came off from AZ's weapon, the ultimate weapon that is, again, powered by the life force of Pokemon, the same life force that comes from Xerneas and is taken by Yveltal. This is how that weapon ties it into the XY games, and of course, again, how it's going to tie in with the Lental region, because the final boss of the game is Xerneas, and it's interesting to note here that the Xerneas can transform itself into a ball that looks a lot like a Megastone, or at least it has very similar coloration. What I am suggesting is simply this: 3,000 years ago, a meteorite in the sky, a passing group of meteorites, a meteorite shower that appears every 1,000 years ago, is hit, parts of it irradiated by the ultimate weapon, the life force of Pokemon. We know that that mutated at least viruses on that meteorite that became Deoxys, and that Deoxys didn't reappear until 3,000 years later in the Delta episode. But 1,000 years later, after the ultimate weapon fired and the meteorites made another loop of the Earth and they're just lapping for the first time, well, there's a meteorite shower. One so powerful that it creates meteor falls and destroys the Dragonair home, and so powerful that it also falls down on the Lental region, causing destruction across the whole Pokemon region just because it's a meteorite shower. That's pretty deadly. However, this is part of the meteorite that Jirachi is riding on, the crystal-like meteorite, and where debris falls down across the Lental region, crystal blooms grow. And certain Pokemon on the island get infected with this kind of life energy, this ultimate, infinity energy is what it is in the games, and they become the Illumina Pokemon. Xerneas, of course, is drawn to this energy, its own energy, and teams up with the Illumina Pokemon to stop the damage that's been caused by the meteorites, while Jirachi just sort of sleeps through it all, only to be awakened when you get your camera out to snap. And that might seem like a loose theory. Maybe I'm just pulling at straws and putting dates together, but here's the thing. It is interesting that in the Ruins of Remembrance, about remembering old things, we're seeing statues of Pokemon that exist today. Let's just take the Meganium from the beginning of the game. Yeah, it's possible that this Meganium isn't the same Meganium as the one from back 2,000 years ago. Maybe there is just a long line of Meganiums that inherit the Illumina power, or what seems more likely to me, given that the central main big boss at the end is Xerneas, the life Pokemon, is that these Pokemon have been given eternal life. Much like AZ's Floette, the only other Pokemon that we know was brought back to life as a result of the ultimate weapon has lived 3,000 years because it appears in the end of the game of Pokemon X and Y. Now we are seeing Pokemon, Meganium, Milotic, Wishy-Washy, Volcarona, Steelix, all of them being kept alive long past their natural age. These are the Pokemon that have been alive since 2,000 years ago. Because that same energy that makes them Illumina Pokemon is the life force energy from AZ's Infinity Weapon. Ultimate Energy Infinity Weapon! I'm just getting words confused now. It's the same Infinity Energy from AZ's weapon 3,000 years ago that infected and hit that meteorite that was passing 3,000 years ago, and then 1,000 years later, when Jirachi fell, brought that energy with it, causing the debris from Jirachi's comet to turn into, of course, the crystal blooms, and then the energy itself irradiating these Pokemon. And Xerneas, of course, being drawn to the crash site to take responsibility of its own life energy. And that, Pokemon Masters, is a classic layered Pokemon theory. I hope to tell more stories like it. Just a quick thank you before I disappear, by the way. While I did buy a copy of New Pokemon Snap for the last Shaman to play, I actually got gifted my copy by the Pokemon Company. So thank you to the Pokemon Company for gifting me the game. I think it's absolutely brilliant. And yeah, my short form review here is that I think the Pokemon look better than they've ever looked in any other Pokemon game. And oh my god, how cool it would be if they look that way in Legends Arceus or in Generation 9. It would just be magical. Additionally, I got gifted with no obligation to post the Instax printer, which you can link up to your phone, which links up to the Switch, so that you can print off your photos like my one of my Bidoof, which I'm calling Miyamoto the Bidoof. Anyway, thank you, Pokemon. Thank you all for watching. I hope you're enjoying all my videos at the moment. I'm having a lot of fun making them. And of course, so hi, Pokemon Masters.
This is Ash Ketchum. You just watched a video by Birdkeeper Toby. That makes you a Pokemon Master.
A huge thank you to those of you who have been supporting this channel financially, whether that's through buying my merch, my Tree of Life poster, or those of you supporting me on Patreon, including the big patrons of this month, JD Gottlich, Michael Hornschuch, and Matty Bar. Thank you.